events this year is to constantly reflect the importance of the market shift and how much of the market are you really taking advantage of. And I always say the low-hanging fruit is the low-hanging fruit. So it's a lot easier to attain when we have low-hanging fruit. And new construction is there, it's available, and it's for us to attain. Another thing is we will get to a tools section, how we use different tools inside of our business model, and we're going to be sharing that with just this and then the group in general. Probably we'll share that at the symposium. But there are certain technical things that we're working through which would become complementary to brokers in how they're building their businesses and how they're working through developing that. So is the market complementing your business? That's a question all of us should keep asking us. And the market shift, one thing about real estate is the volatility of real estate changes about 5 to 8 years. So I believe a broker should always be back to the drawing board about every 5 to 8 years, maybe 10 years. So our run cycle has started probably about 2012, and we have about 10 years of a strong run. Now there's going to be some level of a correction or softening, and then it'll have its run again. Those who've been in the industry, 20, 30, 40 years, they actually get to see 1 or 2 cycles through their career. Those who just start usually start somewhere in wherever it's at, wherever the market's at. But there's always money to be made, and there's always transactions to be completed in real estate. So building your business, that's a section I always start with. It's just kind of a thought that each one of us can reflect. But one of the things building your business is you have to learn to see the world in numbers. You have to learn to see the world in numbers because business is about numbers. And all of us are running our businesses, but we have to learn to see the world in numbers. When I look at the clock, I see 1 through 12. You have to learn that. You cannot get away without associating yourself with time without seeing numbers. When I see a table and it has 4 legs, I have to count to 4. Numbers is everywhere, including real estate, including transactions. We always say, how many transactions do you have in your pipeline? How much are you making on income? It's all associated around numbers. Our life is closer to the digital world, like we say it, than we ever think. But the question is, on a daily basis, is that kind of how I put my focus? Do I see numbers throughout the day? Do I see numbers in my transactions? Do I see numbers in my, my banking, in my accounting? In all of this, it's a really strong numbers game. And you have to exercise your brain to see numbers and see equations. So one thing I found with very successful people is they're very analytical in their processing because all they see is they see equations, and they're able to run equations vertically, horizontally, whatever direction they need to when they're assessing something very fast. The minute a client asks you to appraise their home, they're asking for a number. And you are supposed to stand there in front of a house and determine what that house is worth. What's its depreciation? What's its appreciation value? What are their costs, and what are they going to come out of net income? That's just a simple, we call a seller's net sheet, but you should be able to do that in your head because that's how you're going to service your client. And your client wants that answer right now. You cannot go, oh, I got to go to my Excel spreadsheet. Yes, you can do that for the first 5 appointments, but on appointment 10, you better have that formula in your head. Same thing with finances. When it goes to finances, if a person's making $50,000 and is looking to buy $1 million home, the numbers don't make sense. So numbers are the determining factor of our driving business. So when contractors charge me, and we talked about this, how much people make per hour, we're going back again to the concept of numbers. I know it might be so boring and analytical, but there's nothing you can do about it. Get in love with numbers. I'll tell you this, I didn't like accounting. I hated accounting because it was very tedious work, and I'm a very visionary guy, and I go, who cares about accounting? But when I started to study more and more and more in business, I flopped my understanding, which took a world of reckoning, that if you can show me your accounting, you don't have to show me anything else about your business. I'll see where you spend your money, how much money you spend on marketing, where your clients are coming from, and so forth. So your accounting actually will render me your whole life. It'll tell me where you like to eat, how much coffee you like to drink, where you like to buy your shoes, your clothes, where you like to go to vacation. All your accounting will show that. Well, guess what? It's going to be the same thing about other people. So over my journey in my real estate career, I started to understand that actually numbers is what you want to fundamentally build your business on. It's strictly a number. But you want to be analytical about numbers, and then you want to be analytical about equations. And I'm not trying to say that we have to all get geeky and analytical and become CPAs. No, but you have to understand that at the end of the day, everybody just wants the number. So how much does this repair cost? $500. They want that number. How much is it going to cost per diem if we have 3 weeks extension? It's a number. You're always circulating around the number, the digit. What is that number? And we have to keep these numbers, see the world in numbers, and keep these formulas building in our head, because this is how we help people in making decisions faster and faster. So right now I can go on a lot, I can look at a lot, I can determine construction cost, I can look at 42 line items or 45, what it takes to build a home. I could probably percentage-wise be really close what it would cost per square foot to build a house. I could tell you about market value, and I could probably tell you percentage-wise what a guy can make on that lot. That's why I can sell that lot. Because I can run that analytics in my head without going to a spreadsheet 5 times. But it takes years to develop these equations, but that is what your client is after. And again, on the consumer side, retail, I had a client yesterday talking, they want to take their home. Well, we talked about mortgage, what do they own, what are all the costs involved, and I was like, is there enough buffer for these people to walk away from this house not owning anything? So you have to learn to see the numbers game. If you have some time, just watch Nikola Tesla on the theory of 3, 6, and 9. He's a great scientist. Actually, Elon Musk, the company Tesla, but he saw the whole world in numbers. And there's a bunch of YouTube clips you can watch, but you should spend a little time and understand that numbers has a world of its own. That's why they say numbers never lie. It does push out a certain truth statement when you have numbers. Like, are we making money? Well, let's look at the numbers, right? Don't look at me, look at the numbers, right? So numbers have a certain power and influence throughout all of our transactions because we're pushing so much money. Any questions on that? That's just kind of a little rabbit trail thought. So learn to see the world in numbers. That's going to create a lot of opportunity in how you quickly analyze things for your clients. If I can look at this floor, I'm not a flooring guy, and I can tell you there's 500 square feet of flooring here just by looking at this. This is what people want you to know. I'm not a flooring guy, but I'm just saying, like, this is the stuff that people want to hear. They want to hear numbers and how you're associating numbers with the real world. So we'll continue on our topic, why new construction, and why should we be in new construction as part of our business model? And the running theme that I want to kind of look at this morning is we have clients to serve. We have clients to serve, and that's why this industry is not so easy. Because you do have to appease people and you have to serve your clients. And serving clients takes a lot of effort because people are always wanting to get something out of you. And I think all of us in our career have felt that people are always taking from us. They're taking information, they want input, they want consultation. That's always people taking from us. But our goal is, in real estate career, one of our value proposition is that we're willing to serve our client to meet their needs. And we talked a lot about meeting the needs of the client, but we have to understand that we have to learn how to serve our clients. And when we talk about new construction and why new construction, and we've talked about this because the data shows that our clients go that direction. So we as brokers have to also contribute to new home sales by serving our clients, by serving their needs. And there's a model called B2C, business to consumer, or business to client. All of us are self-employed, so we kind of on some level run a business. So how does my business serve my client? And right now, if you're in real estate for first year, you should look at your pool of clients and you should say, what are the clients that I'm serving is a reflection of how good of a service I provide. It's a direct mirror. So if I say something funny and you laugh, that means you have reflected that this was funny. If I say something funny and you don't laugh, that means it was not funny. So you are my mirror of reflection. Well, your client pool is a mirror of reflection of what you truly serve or what kind of business you really run. So my clients or the clients I serve are builders, investors, developers. Well, if you look at my book of business in the last 12 months, that's the true reflection. So we have to look at the clients we serve and how's my business set up to serve that client. And last week when we talked about your marketing, to a certain point, both of our businesses, as a builder business and as a broker business, we overlap in many areas, but then the builder world goes 5 layers deep. And that's where a lot of brokers get off guard. And that's where you have to start learning how to serve your client. We'll talk B2B business. But business to client is really a strong resale perspective. We're working with the end buyer, the person who's buying our product. So the question is, what clients are you serving in the last 12 months? Will reflect the business that you have today. So I have a broker who says 80% of my business came from buyers. Well, your business is really set up then to serve buyers. Another person says my business, I had 60% listings. Well, your business, that means it's set up to run listings. It's really how you set up your business. And eventually your clients will come. If I'm a dentist, I'm going to fix teeth. I'm not going to cut surgery. I'm not going to make brain surgery. I'm just going to fix teeth. Because that is my business model. So this is the hardest thing for each independent subcontractor or contractors or like brokers is what is your business model? And in my career in 20 years, I tried every single one. I'm going to try working with buyers for 12 months, see how I like it. I'll make money, and then I'll be burnt out, and I'll be like, nah, this is kind of not my thing. They'll be like, I'll do this, and then I'll do this. And so, like, along my career, I've tried many things, just for the sake of seeing like, what could or should I or would I build my business around that model? And many of you should try maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these paths and see how it works for you. But if you don't try, you don't know. And one of the things I think brokers are very horrible, which in my observation is things that I'm not good at, just refer them out to somebody else who's good at. Like, if I don't fix teeth, but somebody does, you just hand them off. Like, just don't, like, I have a couple buyers right now that I have to help out in new construction. Other brokers have called me. But it's just like, get another person involved who can help you through the process. And, you know, as long as you're part of the process, and that's what we say, like, if you're a new broker, get on a team. You get an opportunity to observe the process, you get to learn something, you get to understand how it works, and if there's something you don't know how to do, you get another person involved to help you. But business to client. How are you serving your clients is how you set up your business to serve your clients. So if you don't have any clients right now, or you have a very small pool, is because you have to change your business. You have to tweak your business. People are still buying homes. Rates were going up every 2 months. People are still buying homes. People are paying cash for homes. People are taking mortgages for homes. People will always buy houses. Always. There's not one vacant house that's been sitting around since 2008. They're all gone. Somebody's living in them. Somebody renovated them. The world moves on. Like, there's never going to be like a home just sits there for 20 years because the market can't observe it. Somewhere, somehow, somewhere along the line, the house will sell. Some buyer will show up. I've sold houses without 0 power. It was a repo. I don't know, it's like an hour and a half away. I thought, who's ever going to buy it? There's no power to the house. Somebody bought it. It was like, I don't know, it was like 15 or 18,000. It was like the cheapest transaction. And the person wanted to bring cash. And I go, no, we don't take cash. You got to drop it in your bank. You got to go take a cashier check, drop it at the... But like, somebody bought it. Like, I don't even know if they still own it today. But somebody bought that house. So somewhere, some way, somehow your house will be sold. The next thing is called business to business, B2B. And last week we talked about that a builder's business and a broker's business reflect up to about 4 tiers, and then once you go deeper, a builder's business is a lot more, maybe more complex and complicated than a broker business. But this is really crucial, and I'll put that down here, broker to builder. So going back to this thing, how do I serve builders, and what are my builders' needs, or what are my investor needs? By asking you that question, you're propelling yourself to go find the answer that will eventually contribute towards your client. So I know my builders' needs. I actually know 20 builders' needs. I actually watch 20 builders and I see how they build in the market, and I know what their needs are. I don't have time to serve all of them, but I know what their needs are. So the business to business is elevating my business to a level where it's serving another business. So this is a higher level of partnership than serving business to client or consumer, because a B2C is very transactional. B2B, the longevity of it is a lot longer. So Nike, when they partner with their distributors, they don't do it for 1 month. They put contracts that are at least 5 years in cycle. Because B2B transactions are, first, a lot harder to put together, but the longevity of them are a lot longer. So when we're partnering business to business, you have to understand this is a whole other tier of business development. But what you're really saying is, my business is going to contribute to your business. And if my business contributes to your business, let's find an equal level of partnership. And that eventually, I believe, when brokers have this value, it changes the builder's world. I'm not going to give names, but because I guess 2024 is kind of our year of exposure, we're going to talk more and more and more about this. So I speak to more brokers, more builders, more everyone. Like in the last 6 months, I've had more sit-downs than in my career. But my whole deal is the power that the broker has to contribute to the builder world is greater than they even think. I've sat down with a handful of brokers, salespeople, in-house sales for builders that actually have changed the builders' companies and how the builders think. So what I'm saying is the broker business, when you bring in the client and you tell the builder, hey, my client wants this and this and they're willing to pay for this, how can you move your business around to serve my client's needs? I think that's a very strong proposition. For example, some of you already have builder accounts. You come in and you say, you know what, if you spend $3,000 on this landscaping package, this buyer will buy this house. Let's do this. I mean, like stuff like this where a business is influencing another business for the sake of serving the client. And that's where the broker has power, because the broker is the one who's bringing the client to the builder. And I know everybody says, you know, builders are very, very strict and everything, but with the softening market right now, believe me, they'll change their opinions when the talk goes back to the number. You know, when it goes back to the number, people get desperate. And 3,000 and 5,000 don't seem a lot anymore, just to move the sale and serve the client. So when times are good, everybody forgets everybody. When times get bad, everybody starts remembering their neighbor, right? So what I'm saying is that the season that we're in is a very good season to be able to build up your business and associate yourself on building somebody else's business. But remember this, your business is a reflection of how you have built your business. It's no greater or no less than that. You yourself are your cap. You are your own expectation. So if a person wants to make $1,000 a year, you'll make up to that point. You will not make 1,100. You will not. Because you have set your expectation to make $1,000 a year. If you set yourself to make $10,000 a year, you will try to do everything to make that $10,000, and you'll start to get creative. And the whole thing is right now, just like business brokers, just like builders brokers, and like I mentioned, we have to tweak our business models because how we're serving our client has changed. And I've said this, you know, I even say this to the builders. Your world hasn't changed. You still have the same 2x4s and 2x6s, but the buyer's world has changed. The rates went from 3 to 7%. Everything in the buyer's world has changed. So how you're serving your client now is a whole other story. So I tell my builders, well, be patient with this client because rates are at 7 now. And there's, you know, half of the buyers that there were in the market. We have to work with this client. If it costs you $1,000, we'll be it. So what I'm saying is how we're serving our clients has changed and that has changed in the last 2 years. So have you tweaked your business to your client and the business to business? And you had to. And about 2 years ago, I was sitting in the office and I told my employer, I was like, okay, market's changing. We have to change our business model because the way we're going to serve people is going to be totally different. We're spending more money on listings. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're placing strategies that serve our client. Questions on this? So why new construction? Just like last week, you get an opportunity to serve a greater pool of people, but then at the same time, you get to serve business owners just like yourself who is a business owner. And you get to learn a lot from other business people. A lot. And I would highly press and recommend brokers, because we run our businesses, to slowly cultivate that mindset that you're not just running a solo, you're not just a self-employed, you're actually a business person. You're running some level of a business. So how is this business structure going to look? And how is it going to serve other people, whether it's a customer or whether it's another business? So right now, I'm in business, you guys are in business, so this room is B2B. I'm training other people to be successful in business. But my whole question is, how big are you going to grow your business to serve other business people? And that's the hardest thing to develop, is a bigger, broader mindset of the business world. Serving clients is the same story. How big are you going to build your mindset when you serve clients? And I've talked to this with builders. I got builders who build, for 20, 30, 40 years. And they go, in Clark County, a lot that cost $50,000 was good. Now it's $200,000. He's like, I'm building more $1 million homes than I used to in my whole career, because the price point has gone all the way up. Are they coming down? Maybe for a little bit, but not too much. Everything that's being built is getting absorbed. So when people tell me what's going to happen with price, I go, just keep going up. People like to hear that. They don't like to hear that. It doesn't matter. Things are just going to get more expensive here. The numbers do not lie. No, they don't. So part of new construction division here at KW, our goals to train in new construction is to train why, and today you saw another reason why we should be in new construction, because it elevates your business. It teaches you to serve a whole other pool of clients, and they do expand your horizon on the influence. You get to meet their needs while building your own needs. If you're business to business, if this business is making more money, guess what? What happens with your business? Your business starts to make more money. And that's why elevating from just a resale to a B2B model is a very big jump, but a lot of brokers need to make that jump. They cannot just sit there serving clients, which is great, but they have to understand how B2B works also. They have to understand how B2B works, because that's part of the market share now, where you have to work with builders, you have to work with investors, you have to work with product that is being brought to the market. Any questions?
I mean, in the bigger picture, I think it's something that is going to evolve through the course of these Fridays, but absolutely learning more about how to identify. I mean, for me, it seems like one of the biggest needs for any builder is dirt to build on.
Correct.
And so learning more about how to capture that dirt is going to be a big part of what I want to do.
So that's part of our training section, chapter 7, and that's land acquisition, land development, and that's, and again, we have the tools that we're slowly developing, and we'll allow people to use it at different levels and slowly build ourselves into that. But it's definitely a process. But once you have your business servicing land development and land acquisition, then of course these people are going to use that and take it to their advantage. So guys call me for land and lots and dirt, well, because I built my business to serve that. That's why they're calling me. If I build my business to serve commercial, multifamily, whatever, well, then I'm going to bring in this pool of people. So right now I'm stretching my business to have a bigger investor pool. So I'm slowly building that line to serve investors and how to do long-term, short-term holdings. Well, guess what? Then this whole sector is going to reflect that also. If I build my business around property management, then I'm going to be working with a lot of long-term rental holders, investors, and property management, and they need all those services. So that's kind of where it comes down to. How do you build your business, and eventually you'll lean towards that pool of people in the market. So we start with sales, that's category 1, salesperson, then sales manager. So we talk with sales, and I know back to, I want to actually, so if you talk, the tier is sales, but this tier is the investors and sadly the bankers. Because this is the money is right here. It's at the top of the tier. So our goal is to teach sales, then move to servicing other tiers, and then learning how to service bankers and investors. But that's really where it comes down to, because if people are not investing into the market, you're not going to have anything else. So somewhere along the line, somebody is putting money into the market for things to keep rolling. And that's one of the things I say, will somebody invest money into my business? If somebody gave me $1,000, can I give them $1,100 back end of the year and say, thank you for your $1,000 investment to my business. My business is able to give you a return back of $100. And if it's not, then we need to focus on how to build our businesses. Because the minute you can do that, that means you have understood investor money, and then the minute somebody gives you $20,000 now you can give them $20,500 back, because now you know how to give them money on their return. So that's the whole tier of investing that eventually will slowly build. But that's really what the investor mindset is all about. How can I make an investment, get a return? But if people invested in my business, what would and there's actual real estate classes, even in business, they call it the ROI. What's your return on investment? Another formula that you need to work in your head. Where's the return on investment of my own business? And I'll tell you, real estate is a very cheap business to invest in, to actually start a business, because all you need is a laptop, a cell phone, a license that's about $1,000. So it's kind of the cheapest business to start. You start any construction business, just to buy tools, a van, it's like at least 10 grand as an investment. So being a broker and entering the sales business is actually that's why we have a lot of brokers in the industry, because it's a fairly cheap entry point to go in. You spend $2 grand and you can get your license and all of that. But the question is what you do next, and that's the hardest question. So, but it's really cheap. You can buy a laptop for $400, right? And search the MLS and Craigslist and all of that. Some people just get away with their phone, not even having a laptop. So real estate is a very easy entry point as an overhead, even in business. And if you even sell 3 homes a year and you make 20 grand, well, you just, on $1,000 investment, you make $20,000, which is a hefty return if you really think about it as an ROI. So you can't even make that in the stock market. I just 20x my money. Yes, my time on return, correct, but still, as a money collateral, I still made more money.
It took you 2,000 hours to make that 20 grand.
Correct. It's really hard to get sued. If I was a carpet guy and I installed carpet and people didn't like it, they're gonna force you to pull that carpet out and work for free, right? So the liability of me not installing that carpet is really high. Or if I say paint is the least liable thing. I could put 5 layers of paint on the same wall. That's the least liable thing in construction. Everything else, if you screw up, it's gonna cost you a lot, your company, everything. And that's what I'm saying, real estate is a great industry to get in, and the return on investment is really high if you can really capture the momentum and build it into a real business model. But even my overhead right now, what's my overhead? Just my car, my fuel, my time. That's about it. If you can get gas money, if you can get to an open house, that's about it, to show some property. So go ahead.
Yeah. I've always, when people sign a buyer broker agreement, first piece of paper I lay in front of them is my guarantee. If they're unhappy for any reason with their home, during the first year I'll sell it for free.
Yeah,
I sign that. because I'm asking them to sign stuff, so I signed the first piece of paper, giving them a guarantee for free. In 30 years, I've never had somebody want to sell their house after, within the first year.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a good sales pitch.
Yeah, and it works. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
No carpet guys can't do that.
No.
Or roofer.
no, nobody else. But I'm just saying, it's easy to give a guarantee that
Yeah, I mean, we can.
on the surface appears great, but think about it.
Yeah.
Who wants to move again in 1 year?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Right. And even though you're for free, the excise tax isn't for free, the
Yeah,
tax
right.
isn't free,
Everything else.
Right. But people go, really? I go, yeah. They go, how many have you had to sell? I said, none. Because, well, and I tell them, I say, that's how come I'm going to be, your devil's advocate. I'm not going to be just trying to slam you into any home because I have skin in the game. So.
Good trust, but thanks for sharing that.
Okay, any other questions? If not, if you have any personal questions, you can feel free to come up after class. And thanks for coming and being here. I will make a couple announcements. Our big event is March 22nd, 23rd. We actually are going to hold a huge kind of a broker training on the 22nd, and then on 22nd, 23rd, you can go visit one of our sites in Battleground. John Gerard with Quail is going to be there. So we'll talk about development, we'll talk about land, we'll talk about building homes, we'll talk about everything, and then you can bring your clients there also. It'll be kind of a semi-showroom. So we'll be announcing that here also, but that's kind of our first on-site training. And then I know whoever comes here, and then in April we're going to have our, or May, we're going to have our symposium, Carrie. May. So in May we'll have a big broker symposium, builder broker symposium here also. And I know Tamra has another event that she's trying to plan in April. So one of our goals is in Slack and in our emails we'll be sending out an event calendar for the month and all the events kind of that overlap with new home sales that some of you or maybe most of you should try to attend on those events. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David.